You couldn't have a better way to burn a house down than with a Aston Martin Vanquish manual. And I'm playing hockey, ice hockey, and my goalie, he's got this Lotus Elise. I love fast four-bangers, making a lot out of little. So I grabbed that Elise from him. My wife, she gave me a lot of hard time. It's loud. When it rained, it leaked. It always leaked. You know, it leaks on you. It leaks all the time, you know. There's always wind. It smells like epoxy. All those great things of a Lotus, but, you know, you can just drive that thing safely at whatever speed you want. Love that car. And then as she was kind of like, I need a nicer car, like going out to dinner and this isn't working for me, I start looking. At this time, I was looking at a Vanquish. I love those early Vanquishes, just stunning. But the transmission and all that kind of stuff, you know, it was fine. But I'm a manual guy. Yeah, I knew that a manual conversion was an option, and got to that pretty quickly. So getting in touch with Aston Martin Works over there, I mean, those guys are just amazing. It took forever to ship it over. I mean, this thing got shipped out of here, went to Jersey, sat in a warehouse. I wondered how many people have been their hands through this thing. And it finally made its way, and they gave me the digital compass of the boat. You know, I could watch this thing floating through all these islands, and it finally gets there. And they go through this car, and, you know, they kind of pick through it and find everything they want to replace. And these are the guys who built that car, so the energy behind it was great. You know, they love it. She's home. So getting that conversion was fantastic. I mean, they spent so much time sending me pictures each week. This is where we are. So it's sitting over there. It takes forever and ever. And now it's kind of ready. They're shipping it back. It took forever to get it there. It took forever and ever and ever to get it back. The U.S. sucks. It's just like they give all these different fees and causes to stop. They thought there was drugs in it or something, so they stopped it at the port, wanted to go through it extra. So finally it's on its way, and it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Tow truck guy who comes back on a flatbed, and he comes pulling in. They loaded it on a flat ramp, a flat dock off the ship, which is great. But now you can't get it off. So here it's 2 a.m. in the morning here in Alpharetta, you know, coming, and we're trying to get it off the back. You can't. So I'm going to each neighbor, try to get their driveway, the right load to get that car off without killing it. And that car is loud, and trying to start that thing, turn it off, start the thing at 2 in the morning. Oh my gosh, we finally get it. We finally get it off. We get it in the driveway. We're really kind of happy, and this thing drives fantastic. I mean, that is a big car. It's a heavy car. Driving it, you kind of got to be a man with the clutch and everything else. It takes a challenge, which makes it even more fun. The next car I bought was a Vantage, a little V12 Vantage, good track car. I had the Vanquish for love, had the Vantage for screaming. When you got in that Vanquish, you knew, you know, this thing was built with care and thoughts and depth, and let's stay alive, and let's give people something they've never sat in before. So lived and loved that car, and even took it to some track days, and it handled really well. You know, compared to the Lotus, I was expecting a lot of weight and a lot of push, and it was there, but it still handled really well. And I'm like, from what I read and what I heard, I go, I don't know where this big lunking curvy car is. This thing handles fantastic. It's got giddy up. So it just kind of took that with me. Left the track and moved on. Later on, I have it looked at with Jason at Pinnell Motorsports, and he goes, Mike, you got 9 spokes on this car. I'm like, what is 9 spokes? He goes, these wheels are not normal for a Vanquish. I goes, he goes, well, I'm trying to order in the parts for the wishbone, and some of the bushings were worn. And that's where he noticed, when he got parts in from Aston Martin, that they were just different. And he goes, this doesn't fit your car. And he calls Aston Martin, and they go, well, and he finally give him the VIN number. He goes, that's not a regular Vanquish. You've got an SPD. And he goes, what's an SPD? And that was where we knew this thing had, that's why it worked so well on the track, and it had the S suspension and all other changes, which is really kind of cool. So it really wasn't an S, but it really was underneath. It was a fantastic car. Once you hit 130, it just screamed after that. It just flat, comfortable, pinky on the steering wheel to a $190. It's just crazy. And then comes New Year's Eve, one of the most exciting days of my life. And I took that car out. All these new Astons come out are gorgeous, but she just hung right in there and is absolutely stunning. Took it home that evening and had a big party at my house. My daughters have 100 friends over. I've got buddies over I play hockey with and race with, all this kind of good stuff. And at the same night, so I race Lemons cars. I've got this Lemons BMW, which is a lot of fun. All right, that night I decided to put in a keg system, of course, to drink out of. And so we're drilling in the garage, and we've got the Vanquish, we've got the wife's car. Thank goodness my other Vantage is out. So once we got the keg system working in a Lemons car, I was driving around in the neighborhood just visiting parties, and everybody's drinking out of the back of the Lemons car. I look back in the house, and I see smoke. Hey, what's all that smoke? Who's having fireworks? And as we look back, I'm like, that's really close to my place. And I'm sitting there at the back of the little BMW Lemons race car. I'm like, man, that is way. So I put my Via down and do a little trot up, and I see us coming out of my place. So I go boiling up there, and lo and behold, my house is just burning, and the fire is in the garage. And then I see the tail of the Vanquish, and it's just way royal. It's just so boiling so much, and the fire department won't run into the house. There's kids in there. So I go in the back door, and I'm like, come on, let's go. And they wouldn't even go. So I shoot in the back door. I'm scouring the house, flames and fire, looking for a kid scared, hid behind a couch, hid in the bathroom, and they still won't come in. So I'm running through this stuff, and upstairs, downstairs, I go running out of the house, and now I'm looking for my one girl who's, no one knows where she is. So I'm in the front street. Where's my daughter Lexi? Everyone doesn't know. So I turn around, creeping through the house, running through fire, and they finally scream, she's out here now. And that's all settled. So I come boiling on out, smoky and fiery. Everything, it just boils. And the fire department can't find water. They find water, and the fire hydrant then fails. They're trying to find another hydrant, and that 20 minutes that passed, this little mansion kind of burned down, and the Vanquish is in it. Next day I get going, and I've got to go find out where my baby, you know. So I get back in, and everything just kind of going through all the burn stuff. I got to find what's left, what's up for the family, what's up for that. All the insurance companies wouldn't come close because they said the house is going to fall down. So my buddy shows up with a Rolls Royce, and we end up dragging all these cars out with a suicide door Rolls Royce. We're not quite sure whether it was fireworks, because we were shooting fireworks ourselves. There were neighbors shooting fireworks. The garage was a little open. The Vanquish and the car cover sitting on the ground. We drove the Lemons car out, and we're driving around the hood, but we really don't know. It's hard to blame the Vanquish. The insurance company wanted to know everything about the Vanquish and blame the Vanquish because they're all looking to put it on somebody else. So the car came in hot. I came in about dinner time on New Year's Eve. I was at the office giving the car some love. I always run it up and down the highway, give it, open, get out the spider webs, as they say. And then we're drilling in the Lemons car, making beer and keg enhancements, which is not what normally people do in their garage on New Year's Eve. And then going through the insurance, so those folks were looking at a standard Vanquish with, I think it was 15,000 miles on it. And unfortunately for those cars, they just don't get a lot of love. It's a loss because they're beautifully built. And when you sit in an original Vanquish, and I've sit in new Vanquishes, and they're gorgeous cars all day long, there's nothing like a first round Vanquish. You're immersed in this British love, and those folks spent so much effort on those cars, and you could see it. You could just see all the tufting and just everything that they've loved about that car to keep Aston Martin alive was in that. That energy was so much in that car. And for folks who have an original Vanquish, looking at putting those to a manual conversion, they should. I mean, that's what that car should have been built with, and that's what you should do with it. If you own that, you should do it, because that's the right thing to do. You could fly those guys over, and they will try to do it, but they don't have their tools, they don't have their dies, they don't have the leather guy from Aston Martin Works ready to do everything. So they'll make it happen, but you can send it back in, and I was maybe the same amount. It may have been $1,000 more to have the guys from Aston Martin Works do it, and the leather guy, and everyone who just does that for a living to kind of put it together. So send it over, and you'd be so happy. And it's absolutely, the care is crazy. I want to find a true Vanquish S, black, 2.0, no back seats, and make it a manual. That's, in my opinion, the ultimate Vanquish. Love the new ones, but that original Vanquish, just once you get in that thing, it's just you absolutely know your car that was built with love. And the goal is to really take that engine out of there, and we're gonna make the most badass coffee table. And I've also got the steering wheel, which had no idea that's what the steering wheel looked like once it had been smelted. But man, that is something I'll have forever. And then fighting through the house to get my key, you know, I got that. As melted as that is, I've got the Vanquish key.